What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 305 Takes. And Angel, can you feel it? We have NFL football returning tonight with the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs returning to the field to face the darling of the NFL, the Detroit Lions, a team with expectations, a Detroit Lions football team where people expect them to win. Could it be? A lot to get to. What are you looking forward to on this one, Angel?
Man, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm just so happy that we have NFL back, man. And like you said, bro, a lot of people, including me, bro, I'm expecting big things from the Lions. I have them winning the North, but it also kind of makes me scared that everyone's picking them because I was like, oh man, bro, if everyone's picking them, I just see like a bad sign coming. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong.
So let's get right into it. We have that game to get to, but before we get into analyzing the game, I wanted to go over some of the notable contract disputes that we have going into the season. I know this offseason we had what seemed like to be a revolt from the running back crew, and we had some guys, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, being placed on a franchise tag, and debating on whether they should hold out. That's been resolved as of right now. Going into this season, we had Nick Bosa, reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year, uh, claiming that he was going to hold out. But Angel, we have some news in that regard as Nick Bosa agreed to an extension with the San Francisco 49ers today, making him the highest paid defensive player of all time.
Bro, once I saw the contract, I was like, whoa. And no,
Yeah,
I'm
5 years, $170
yeah.
million dollars with 122.5 in guarantees, which is crazy because he is going to be the highest paid defensive player ever. But now, in guaranteed money at least, he's making Jared Goff money.
Yeah,
That's the
which I
funniest
mean,
part to me.
bro, I don't blame star players asking for their money because we've seen it in the NFL ever since we've been watching. I'm pretty sure even our dads and everyone who's been watching it before us, it's not always who's free, it's about when they're free. And whenever who is the next person up in line to get a contract, they're going to be the highest paid player at that position or ever, depending on who it is. Like for I think for like a couple of months, Patrick Mahomes was the highest paid player in the NFL. Then Aaron Rodgers came back into the picture as the highest paid player in the NFL. This year, Lamar was for a good amount. It was Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and who knows, bro? Joe Burrow might sign his contract any minute of him being the highest paid player ever. So I'm happy for Nick Bosa. I think he deserves it. He's an amazing player. So I just hope he can produce because whenever players sign those type of contracts, they need to produce. If they don't produce, everyone looks at that contract and say, this is what screwed the team over.
Yeah, and especially for a San Francisco team, I think this was really important to get this done before the season started. Especially we're going to be talking about Kansas City and Chris Jones coming up next, and how that's going to impact them going into this first game of the season. But when you look at the 49ers, this definitely could be a year where things could get rocky. Purdy, obviously, we saw how his season came to an end last year with the injury, and they're penciling him in, to start right away. And we all saw how the Trey Lance situation shook out with him eventually being traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And now Sam Darnold is the quarterback number two there, which, I mean, we can believe as much as we want to in Kyle Shanahan being the quarterback whisperer, but we've seen Sam Darnold play. And I understand he might have a couple good performances in that Shanahan system and with Debo and Christian McCaffrey and all those guys around him and a defense that's going to help him. But I don't think that's something that they can lean on. So potentially not having Nick Bosa to start the season, I thought was like code red. Like they need to
Yeah.
get this done immediately for the 49ers just so they can have cohesion and that there's nothing going on in the background as they might have some challenges going into the season. So I thought it was a good deal for the 49ers. I still think that they're probably the team to beat in the NFC. I mean, I do like Seattle in their own division. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a repeat of how we saw it last year, where Seattle sneaks into a wild card spot with the 49ers going ahead and clutching the division. But I think the NFC is very up for grabs. So I think it was good for San Francisco to get this deal done and keep that defensive group together.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them. They did what they had to do. And he did win Defensive Player of the Year last year. So it does say, like, hey, this guy is, he's still young. He just won Defensive Player of the Year. And I think he only has room to grow as an NFL player. I think he still has so much great potential. So I'm happy that they were able to do it. And now that after this deal, bro, I feel like Kansas City might be in more deep water now with Chris Jones, because I felt what was key for Kansas City to get Chris Jones is get the deal done before Nick Bosa gets his deal done. And Kansas City failed to do that now.
Yeah, and I mean Chris Jones, arguably because he plays at a more premium position, even though defensive end is very premium, but being able to rush the passer as an interior defensive lineman is probably one of the most valuable assets you can have as a player in the National Football League, and certainly unique because outside of Aaron Donald, it's really just Chris Jones in that category that's consistently getting pressure up the middle. And when you look at guys like Quentin Williams, who more known for run stuffing, but can get after the quarterback from that middle position, you see the contract they got, and then if I'm Chris Jones, I'm supposed to be the best defensive player at this position, and I can't get rewarded with a new contract.
Mm-hmm. You have him, Quentin Williams, Dexter Lawrence, who also got paid this offseason. There's a good amount of defensive tackles that got paid before Chris Jones. So it's definitely hurting Kansas City now. And bro, at the game, if I'm Detroit, knowing that Chris Jones is not there, no, this is just me. I would run the ball more because I do know at the end of the day, Kansas City is going to score points. Like that part is never going to be an issue for them. They're going to score. But if you can maybe limit the amount of times that they're on the field, I feel like that's a good thing to do, especially with Chris Jones not there. You at least you have a better chance of getting more yards at running the football. No, I don't know the whole defensive tackle depth chart for the Chiefs, but hell, if Chris Jones is not there, man, if I'm Detroit, just run the ball. Run the ball. I understand you want to air it out, but in a game like this,
Well, I
try to
mean,
get the
this is a
easy
team
win.
that does like to lean on that running game. We saw last year with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, the two-headed monster that they had there, and with Jamal Williams being able to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns this year, we saw that they already invested in the running back position this offseason, drafting Jameer Gibbs. So it'll be definitely, I think, a factor in this game, and especially as you move forward going into this season with this Chiefs team, because honestly, for Chris Jones, the best thing would be for what we're saying is that Detroit comes out and can control the game by being able just to run the ball and eat away at the clock and, like you said, keep Mahomes on the field. So if I'm Chris Jones, I'm sitting at it. I'm sitting there looking at it like it's kind of a win-win. If the defense doesn't perform well, that's going to just show how valuable he actually is to the team. Hopefully, the team will turn around and say, okay, we don't want our defense to get off to such a poor start, or let's end this now and just pay him the money that he wants. But when you look at it compared to the other guys around him in the same position, I think it's worth giving it to him, and it's just it just shows you the struggles that you do have when you're building a team when you're building a team after already giving the quarterback that big contract. Because once they paid Mahomes, we've seen that they haven't really invested as far as signing anybody at wide receiver. They've trying to get the under the radar guys, the hidden gems. We'll see about
Yeah.
Sky Moore, a guy that they took in the second round, but it's been Justin Ross. Guys that have haven't gotten the opportunity fully yet, and now we're looking at a guy that is extremely valuable on defense. And you can say that he's not getting what he wants, or he might be asking for too much. But if this is, the opposite end, I think they'd be getting it done with if Mahomes was the one that was potentially sitting out before this game.
Yeah. I don't even think Mahomes' contract doesn't even get this far, bro. That's
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
That's done like maybe 2 days after the Super Bowl. Like at worst. That's at
Exactly.
worst. So it's definitely something to see, but I do feel bad for a couple of guys because I do understand some guys want to get paid. They've earned their payday because they've gone through so much torture. And I could say this from personal experience. I played football in the rain this past weekend, and I could just say this. NFL players deserve every like dollar they get because, bro, I really tried out there, bro. It just wasn't working. Like I had cleats on and I felt like I couldn't get a good grip on the field. Like I was like, bro, how do I run in this field? And they're doing it consistently, consistently. So I will
Over and over again at a professional level.
so I will owe and for till the day I'm done, I will defend every NFL player that plays in a tsunami of a game. Like the game last year with the 49ers and the Bears to start it off, I will defend every player who plays in the
The
ring
one
because
that got Trey Lance traded.
yeah, bro, that I am going to defend them with my life. I will be the first. I will be on the front lines defending. It's like, no, you play in the rain and see how tough it is.
Yeah, and you tell me how that works out for you.
Yep.
Even if it's a game I like two-hand touch, I agree with you.
We
It's a
did
whole
two-hand
different
touch.
atmosphere. It's a whole different atmosphere. But we'll see. What are your thoughts about this game going into tonight's Thursday night football game with the first game of the season?
I do like what I'm seeing out of Detroit. The only thing I just
How
felt,
do you think? How do you think Kansas City? It looks like, for people that don't know, it looks like Travis Kelsey may miss this game. He hyperextended his knee Tuesday in practice. I know that Schefter had put out a tweet saying that his ACL was intact, that there wasn't any structural damage. So it looks like it'll just be a pain tolerance thing, and when they can get him back for that. But if they're not going to have him for this one, obviously that's a big blow, as that's obviously option number one and probably number two for Kansas City in this offense. But I think we'll really get to see how much trust has been built up so far through the offseason with this new receiving core. And, if anybody can potentially pop that, we haven't previously seen with Mahomes before.
I actually do like this situation for Kansas City. Not to say that they're gonna win the game outright, but I do think it's good because now we get to see how good are these weapons that they picked up. You see all the wide receivers that were standing out in their camp. So I think it's good because now Mahomes can actually build in-game trust with all these players. He had so much in-game trust with Travis Kelsey. It was his safety blanket. Now who knows if maybe this game Mahomes finds someone, it's like, hey, I just have that connection with him, almost like I have with Travis. And if Kansas City finds that, I think that's a win. Even if they don't win the game, it's like, all right, we know just in case if it's a big third down, Travis is doubled. We know he's reliable with the football from what we saw with Patrick and everything. So I do think this is a very good test for Kansas City for all their young weapons from Sky Moore to Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney, Pacheco, McKinnon if he gets some playing time, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Who knows if we get a sighting of him? So I do like this test a lot for all the weapons of Kansas City, but in terms of an in-game perspective, if I'm Kansas City, like you need to still score that football. Without Chris Jones, you need to score that football because I
That's what
do
I was
think
going to say.
Detroit is going to try to run up that scoreboard. They're going to make it a shootout, or Detroit is just going to rush the football. So if I'm Kansas City, you need to know that you can score without Travis on the field.
Uh, I was saying that for football fans, I think that the potential of Kelsey missing when you factor in Chris Jones potentially missing this one as well, it adds an excitement to it because, well, obviously not in a good excitement because, obviously you want all the star players healthy, but I think the Chiefs and the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Jared Goff have a history. They played in one of the best regular season football games we've ever seen on a Monday Night Football a couple of years ago. And I believe that for the Chiefs, in order for them to reasonably have a shot, if they're going to actually miss both of these guys, is to continue to score the ball. Make Jared Goff come down and have to answer back and match point for point the greatest quarterback that we have at the moment in Patrick Mahomes. I think that's the best way to do it is just keep putting points on the scoreboard and have the Lions match it. Yeah, it's cool that you drafted Gibbs, but are you going to lean on a rookie in his first ever game on the first game of the season? Jameson Williams isn't there. Are you confident in the rest of these guys? The other tight end that you have to replace Hawkinson, Laporta, is a rookie. So like where is this really going to come from on the Lions side. So if I'm Andy Reid and the Chiefs, and I think for NFL fans, another reason is, you take away Kelsey and Reed, who's known for coming up with these weird play installs week of, and
Who knows if we
looking at
see
high
like
school
5 of
tape, looking
them?
at college tape. Who knows if you just run something random out there to throw it off, especially when they're in the red zone, because we know how valuable Kelsey is to them for there. So just to throw the defense off and keep them guessing. I think this definitely has a chance for some fun fireworks, especially considering it's the first game of the season and both teams are going to be healthy relatively, compared to what we'll see later in the season. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm leaning Lions. I know it's kind of crazy to say that
Yeah.
I'm believing in Jared Goff. But I am also excited just to see what Mahomes looks like to see if he can just make a bunch of nobodies and have a 100-yard game with somebody, or if he's still going to be out there just doing things where you're like, what did he just do?
Yeah. I talked about it with my dad for a bit when we saw the news on Travis. And I just said, I was like, we talked about the potential if Travis Kelsey wasn't there for the season. And then I just gave the option, like saying that imagine if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs win the Super Bowl and they didn't have Travis Kelsey. So essentially Tyreek Hill was taken away, Travis Kelsey was taken away. And if Mahomes wins the Super Bowl without both of those guys on the field, I don't want to hear anything more from any other quarterback. I don't.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I also think
we'll
I'm
see.
like,
I mean, but
it's
that's straight
so
fantasy
unrealistic.
land.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
that's straight
unrealistic.
fantasy land.
I mean, plus also
Because
we're
if
gonna
that
be giving
happens, they're going to trade for somebody or
yeah,
sign somebody.
yeah. But also we don't know, but we are gonna give our Super Bowl picks eventually. So I do know we have Super Bowl picks. I I'm very excited for it. Very excited to get that, but we'll save that for later in the show. But I'm just happy that we're gonna be able to see it. And I'm really happy for the Lions because I do want to see St. Brown. Does he continue on that hot streak how he did last year? Can he live up to the production that he did? And now Jameer Gibbs. You replace DeAndre Swift, who was a good back. Obviously, he had trouble staying on the field, but I'm very curious. I do want to see if this Lions team can live up to the hype that they're getting now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I honestly don't think that this is, I don't think this is the greatest team that we've seen. I think that they do have pieces. And once we see a team that's, drafted a couple of times high early in the draft, I think that we, just expect that these guys are all going to take a step together. But I still think that this isn't the best of football teams. You said that you have them winning the division. I'm honestly not too sure about that one. I think it goes to the Bears or the Packers.
Bro, if the Bears win it after the season they had last year, that's insane. But that that's football, man. Anything can happen.
Right now, hold on. Yo, you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. Sorry, I was having a couple technical difficulties there a little bit, but let's move on to our next topic. And me and Angel, as we discussed on the last podcast, we are co-commissioning our fantasy football league this year. And of course, for week one, I'm going to be facing off against the man and the team that caused me great agony at the end of last season. Facing off, it's week one matchup of the year with the Super Bowl or the fantasy football runner up and the fantasy football winner of our league facing off in week one. And we had a very interesting draft, Angel, to say the least.
Yeah, everyone in the draft had a mojo, and I feel like everyone kind of had the same draft. Everyone stacked up at one position, and they're so weak on the other position. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's a 12-team league, double flex, and some teams either have a lot of great running backs, very few good receivers, and vice versa. Some teams have a lot of great receivers and very few good running backs. So it's gonna play out. Essentially, this year we're gonna see the strategy. Which one was better? Do you draft a lot of running backs or do you draft a lot of receivers? I will admit this, during the draft, I stole Miles' strategy from last year during the draft. When Miles drafted two tight ends. He drafted George Kittle and Dallas Goedert. Once I drafted Mark Andrews, and I said, hey, if there's another good tight end on the board, I'm taking him. Like, I need to do this. This was a strategy Miles had above all of us. He didn't trade any of his tight ends last year. No, it did get him to the championship game. So Miles clearly knew something I just didn't know. But I just like I had to steal this one. This one I am not going down this year because of a tight end.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even though my strategy is usually draft Kelsey as soon as possible, like I don't think there is any overdrafting him. I somehow lucked out this year with deciding that I was going to wait because I thought there was some potential sleeper guys, but not too excited with the tight end position that I have. I mean, I have three on my roster. I got the Laporta kid from Detroit that I
Yeah.
just mentioned, the rookie,
Oh
and then
well,
I got
so
both LA.
tell us your
I got
lineup.
both
Tell
LA. Yeah, I got both LA tight ends in Higby and Gerald Everett. But so far, starting off, I've got Hurts at quarterback, McCaffrey at running back, uh, followed by Damian Pierce at running back, Debo Samuel at receiver, Tyler Lockett, Tyler Higby, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery as my other flex, and then defense right now I have the Steelers and of course I have the young legend Young Hoku
it's a
at
good
kicker for
lineup.
me right now. And then I'm trying to see it's solid. I wish I had a more solid number one receiver. I mean, I do like the fact that I can stack Debo and Christian McCaffrey, and I have that in another one of my leagues as well. I you know I think that they're both obviously going to be in huge parts of the offense for San Francisco, and pretty much everything that they're going to do is going to resolve around those guys. So hopefully it'll just be a situation where as long as San Francisco scores, it'll be one of them. Outside of the few that Ayuk vultures and same with Kittle, but hopefully the majority of the production will come from one of those two guys. So I'm glad that I have the ability to stack them, especially if one of them gets injured. Uh, my only thing is I do wish I had a true number one because I got Lockett as the other guy. And, obviously he has DK, and we'll see how he deals with the rookie JSN coming in as well.
Yeah. Miles has a good team. He does. He has a very good team. But now it's time to read you guys my lineup. So note, I went very wide receiver heavy. Starting at quarterback, I have Trevor Lawrence. My two running backs are Brian Robinson and Jamal Williams. My wide receivers, Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown. I have Mark Andrews at tight end. Then my two flexes are T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk. I have the Saints defense, and at kicker, I have Jake Elliott. So I went into this draft list saying, okay, like let me get as many good receivers as possible. I have the ninth pick. I don't know how many good receivers will be there once I have my third pick. That was like my fear. I'm like, all right, let me just get the two best receivers that I can. And it was Diggs and Brown. The only thing I don't like how I said, I feel like me going wide receiver heavy did hurt because my running backs are just very, very weak.
Well, luckily for you, you co-host a show with a guy that has a team full of running backs. So
Yeah,
if you ever need to work out something, I think you guys will be okay. So we'll
let's do it
see. We'll
now.
see. I don't know. I don't know about that. I gotta at least see my guys play together first, because there's nothing pressing that I need to do until at least we're 0-1. Once we're 0-1, then anybody's on the table. That's when we got to switch up the vibes. Can't let this losing seep into my team. But right now, everybody's got to hope we're all 0-0.
Because I'm willing to give you Mark Andrews if you put Kenneth Walker in the deal.
But see, the thing is, I don't need Mark Andrews because I have Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham. So
Exactly.
like
You can add one of them too.
I'm just gonna
No,
stack up on the entire Ravens
you
offense.
could you could add Zay or Odell.
That's not how what is that doing to help?
You're getting a true tight end.
Yeah, but it's okay. I don't need a Raven. You feel? I'm trying to
Uh,
pop on one of the receivers.
okay, what about Dallas Goddard? Which running back would you be willing to trade if I offered Dallas Goddard?
Neither one yet, bro. Neither one
What?
yet. I gotta see how they play, especially Damian Pierce. He's the one that I would want to get rid of, but I mean they got a rookie quarterback, so he might be the focal point of their offense.
They also have Singletary as his backup, who's a better pass catcher, but that's just me.
Yeah, but Singletary's not that good, bro. If he was that good, the Bills would have kept him. Anyways, what I'm saying is we will see because obviously, going into this first week, there's going to be injuries. Hopefully, knock on some wood, not too many that are really going to affect us throughout this season. But there are going to be some guys. We're going to come back with an episode after this week. We'll have some guys for you guys to target potentially on the waiver wire after week one. Maybe some guys that unfortunately are on somebody else's team already at a position that they're stacked at, and then you could work out a trade. So as always, whenever you guys are tuning in, you could watch us live on Monday and put in any questions if any of these injuries do pop up. If any trades are need to be made because of one of these injuries or somebody popping off on your bench, you could always ask us questions live. But let's move on to our last segment here before we send you off into Thursday night football. And this is a new segment that we're breaking out for the podcast. It'll be a Thursday special. It'll be Miles's best bets for the weekend. And how we'll do it here, it'll be the same format pretty much all the way through on our Thursday night podcast. What we'll be doing is I'll give you a best bet for the Thursday night football game. I'll give you a prop bet to take for one of the multiple games that we'll be having on Sunday, and then I'll also give you one team against the spread going into this week. So before I give mine out, before I give my little spiel, Angel, is there anything that you're looking at across this betting landscape this weekend?
I am actually the one bet I really did look at because once I saw the Travis Kelce injury, I wanted to look at the line for the Lions and Chiefs game, and I saw it was at 6. They went from 6.5 to 6. And as much as people might doubt me, I actually think the Lions can cover the spread.
Yeah, I
I
don't think that's crazy.
I think they can cover. I really do. I feel like they can cover. So that's one bet. And if not, I actually would like to know your bet on the Chargers Dolphins game.
Ooh, Chargers Dolphins. I don't think is a game that I'm personally going to bet, but honestly, I think an under might be good, just like how it was last year, because I think both these teams are going to want to play better against each other, and I don't exactly think that they're going to want to go for those knockout punches. I think they both understand that these are teams that can beat you in different ways. So, everybody just has to execute the game plan and go from there. So I would stay away from that. Obviously, as a Dolphins fan, that money line plus money is always going to look attractive for me. But for me, I'm going to start off with the Thursday night game. For the Thursday night game, we're going to go to a player prop, and we're going to try to cash out on something a little bit more plus odds. So we're going to go with the guy that was a huge factor for this team, especially down the stretch last year of the season. We're going to go Isaiah Pacheco, anytime touchdown. Um, Depending on where you look, you can get it at plus money. I see some that are at, plus 100, so you get your money back for whatever you place down. Some places at plus 110. So, shop around a little bit, look at where you could possibly put that down and see if you can earn a couple more dollars for your anytime touchdown bet for Isaiah Pacheco. I think, especially with Kelce being out, they're going to lean on him, get that ground game going, you mix in some screens going into that. And then for the prop bet that I'm going to be targeting on Sunday, this is one that I I hesitate to give this one out just because I think it has the potential to blow up in my face, but I think because remember last year going into week one, I was like, yo, I have a funny feeling that the Seahawks are going to beat Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. It was the return game. It was the Monday
And
night
you
football
you ended
game.
up being correct.
Exactly. Well, for some reason, I don't know why, the the upset that seems so obvious to me is this Raiders Broncos game because everybody's just going to assume that Sean Payton's here and everything is going to be fixed and Russell Wilson's going to be better. Jerry Judy got banged up in the preseason. I still don't really like that offensive line, even though they invested money into it with guys that I don't think are really that great. You have Cortland Sutton coming off an injury. They already lost Tim Patrick. They traded Albert O, the tight end, we saw pop a little bit last year. I don't know which there really is to be excited about on this team outside of Patrick Surtain, and maybe if you can get Javonte Williams back healthy. But I kind of like the Raiders, so I'm not going to give out the money line. There are some 3.5s, there are some fours on the board, but give me the Raiders with the field goal and the hook there for that one. So that'll be our side for a game on Sunday. And then for the prop bet, I'm gonna go. The over in the Eagles and the Patriots game.
What's the line?
I have it at 44.5.
Okay, yeah, that could go over. Because if the
I
Eagles is yeah, the Eagles have the capability of scoring 30, and then if Mac Jones and this new offense, if they can at least put up 18, that you cover
I'm hoping
when
that it's
you win.
more that it's just not too big of a blowout and that the Eagles are just able to, run the ball and dominate the time of possession. But I'm hoping that exactly to your point that the Patriots' new offense will look to start fast and I'm hoping there's added motivation. You know who they're honoring before the game?
No,
One Tom Brady. So I'm thinking Mac Jones is like, damn, if I don't get my stuff
I gotta
together,
prove
they're
I'm at
gonna
least okay.
exactly. Especially with this guy gonna be in the building. He's gonna probably be on the sideline. Belichick's gonna be all talking to him before the
Oh
game. They're gonna rebuild the
man,
relationship. So I'm expecting that the Patriots offense is gonna have a little step in their pep in their step as they go out into this one, especially because you have the Philadelphia Eagles coming in, the defending NFC champion, coming into your building. You want to make a good impression for a team that had a really bad year before.
dang, that's good. Those are some good bets. I will say it's. I think it's the one like how I said I'm kind of scared is like that Raiders Broncos one. That one kind of scares me, but it's not bad. I do want to know before you sign us off. We got to know Super Bowl picks. I have mine. I don't know if you have one in your head.
For me, I actually, not even gonna lie to you, I'm doing Dolphins Seahawks. Logged
Wow.
off computer forever.
It's at
Bro, I've never picked the Dolphins and I've never, but I don't even truly believe it. But like how a couple years ago, I think when we first started recording, my Super Bowl pick was Packers and Browns, and I was epically wrong. I like the teams where like it's like okay, I wouldn't be completely surprised if they were in the Super Bowl, and having two of those teams match up as because like Denver Miami would have been kind of random if I would have said it to you heading into the NBA season, but I do like Seattle Miami. I think that would be a pretty cool Super Bowl too.
that's a good one. I have like two Super Bowls. I have one that I think I will see and one I would love to see. The one I think I will see is Baltimore against San Francisco. I believe we will get a
Again,
rematch. I will a
again,
rematch of a Super Bowl. I could see now
but no
Lamar,
brothers this time.
no brothers. It would be Lamar Jackson and this new
But
Ravens offense.
two
Yeah,
coaches kids.
it would be going off and I'm like, hey, I'm here for it. 49ers Ravens Super Bowl. I feel like that would be an awesome rematch of it. And it would be a lot of great storylines. Can Brock Purdy win the big game? Is Lamar Jackson going to win? And if they are there, I would like for the Ravens to win just because Lamar is from South Florida. And I would like, hey, I want a Super Bowl winning quarterback to be from South Florida. So that would be that would be the one I
That
want to
would be
see.
pretty cool.
The one I think I'm going to see. Oh well, wait, did I say the one I think I'm going to see? Wait, did I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one I want to see. The one I generally would want to see, bro. I want to see the Chargers versus the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even a Cowboys hater, but I just like that you can make fun of the Cowboys. Like I don't know if I want to see a Cowboys Super Bowl in my entire life.
The reason I
Like,
said
I'm
I
not even
want
a hater of them, but it's just too comedy, bro. Like, I need their season to end with Zeke getting blown up again.
oh my gosh. The reason I just said I wanted so that way there could be the storyline of Kellen Moore against the Dallas Cowboys.
I get you. I get you.
And
And
then
Mike McCarthy getting back without Aaron Rodgers, with Aaron
Rodgers,
Rodgers, putting together this team in New England. Dan Quinn makes his Super Bowl return after
the
getting
28 to
just
3.
embarrassed by Tom Brady. Yeah,
And then it would
they
be
would have some good storylines.
and the Chargers could get back at Dallas because the last couple of times Dallas has played the Chargers, Dallas has just owned them.
I
So
don't think I'm ready for a world that I would
Justin
have to
Herbert.
say no. I don't think I'm ready for a world that opposite. I don't think I'm ready for a world that of Dak Prescott being a Super Bowl quarterback. Like, I don't think I'm ready for that. So hopefully that one is incorrect, not even close. And it would snap everything up insane about the Chargers being cursed. Look at their playoff success last year. Look at they should have just stayed in San Diego. That's a hill I will die on, and they will never have success without being in San Diego.
Yeah, I also just talked about it like with a couple of people. I was like, man, the weirdest Super Bowl like we can see, but I wouldn't mind it. I would have liked to see the Lions in the Super Bowl, but I would like to for them to play against the Bengals.
That would the Lions in the Super Bowl. I mean, that would make me so depressed as a Dolphins fan.
They made it before you did.
Yeah, I know. Like, they finally got their stuff together.
Oh man, yeah, that would
They
hurt.
finally,
I mean,
yeah.
but I just loved it because of like, man, it would be two high-powered offenses going at it in the Super Bowl. It's like, all right, the first to 50 wins.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. Well, I mean, that was kind of last year's, especially with the turf being all messed up, and they were still going back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, but it's cool. I love it. We're back in the NFL season. I'm happy for it. I'm so excited for fantasy this year. And not only do we have our co-commission league, we also have other leagues that both me and Miles are on. And I'm excited for it. I'm ready to do it. And I just know I know Miles is not gonna say it. Miles wants to win bad. He wants to win
Yeah,
bad.
especially to being in second place, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We're not putting any pressure on the boys. We're going into this week positive with a new mindset. It's a new season. We're like the Eagles. We're on their way back.
Just don't hope for a championship hangover. That's always been like the scary part.
Well, can't have a championship hangover if I didn't get the championship.
Okay, fair. That's fair. I will. I'm just excited. We got a new season, and it's gonna be. We're back, bro. Monday, Thursday. It's time for football, bro. It's time for football.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. We've got this Chiefs Lions game to start it off, and then we're back full slate going into Sunday. Hope everybody enjoys. Hope everybody wins their fantasy matchups that's listening, except if I face you or any of those other situations. If you're my boy and I just don't want you to win. But either way, so I hope you guys enjoy this week one. We know we will, and we'll be back for you guys on Monday. Until then, peace.